college and into high finance.
Bro, white people get coverage that's so crazy, where even if they are the most prolific, internationally renowned sex trafficker, they still will be like, coming from a middle class, a real upstart, Jeffrey Epstein was a smart boy. It's like that shit blows my mind, dude. That actually blows my mind. There are no real legal repercussions that they could potentially fear, because none in the Western world does anything beyond some light condemnations. Oh, thank you for the playlist. Okay, we're gonna get into a little bit of Ghislaine Maxwell stuff, considering that the Justice Department met with Ghislaine Maxwell twice over the Epstein files. No, I'm not going to do some personal news. We've already started the stream, okay? There's no intro music. There's no personal news. Shut the fuck up. We're getting into the news. I got to go pee.
Administration is facing renewed calls for full transparency regarding files in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Epstein's accomplice wrapped up 2 days of interviews with a top Justice Department official and the president's former attorney, Todd Blanche. Her attorney says she answered questions about 100 different people yesterday and that she did not hold anything back. Scott McFarland has more.
As he emerged from a second day of interviews in Tallahassee, Ghislaine Maxwell's defense lawyer, David Marcus, said she is cooperating freely.
We haven't asked for anything. This is not a situation where we're asking anything in return for testimony or anything like that.
But as he departed for his golf resort in Scotland, President Trump refused to rule out a pardon for Maxwell, who's serving a 20-year prison term.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if she's cooperating?
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something. I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
Maxwell was convicted of conspiracy in the repeated sexual abuse of young girls. During her trial, some of the victims said they wanted her to be sentenced to life in prison. Deputy U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche, a former Trump criminal defense lawyer, has now conducted 2 closed-door meetings with Maxwell in an effort to quiet criticisms the administration is blocking access to the Epstein files. A plane flew a banner over the courthouse meeting site accusing the president and U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi of a cover-up. Blanche, Trump's #2 Department of Justice official, said he sought the meetings with Maxwell as a response to the president's directive to release more evidence in the case.
That is totally unorthodox and outside the norms of the way the Department of Justice is supposed to operate.
Liz Oyer, a former U.S. pardon attorney, was fired from the Department of Justice in March.
Is she well positioned to get a pardon?
There's every reason to believe that they are seeking to make some sort of deal with Maxwell that will help them solve this political crisis.
Trump dismissed any talk of a pardon as he arrived in Scotland.
A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons.
So what became of these interviews? The Department of Justice so far has said only that it'll release information at the appropriate time, raising questions about when and what will ultimately be released. For CBS Saturday Morning, Scott McFarland, Washington.
Jeffrey Epstein was enormously wealthy. At the time of his death in 2019, he owned a collection of mansions across the world, 2 private islands. He was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Exactly how this disgraced financier managed to become so wealthy is central to the ongoing scandal, and both Republican and Democratic lawmakers on Capitol Hill want answers. Here's CNN's Tom Foreman.
When convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein was found dead behind bars, he owned 2 Caribbean islands, homes around the world in Manhattan, New Mexico, Palm Beach, Paris. And according to Forbes, his estate was valued at $578 million, making Epstein clearly a wealthy man. Not so clear to some who have watched the case closely how he got it all.
I think that's the smoking gun here, Epstein's finances and how he made his money, who he got money from.
Born in middle-class Brooklyn, Epstein was a bright student who dropped out of college and into high finance.
Bro, white people get coverage that's so crazy, where even if they are the most prolific, internationally renowned pedophile sex trafficker, they still will be like, coming from a middle class, a real upstart, Jeffrey Epstein was a smart boy. It's like that shit blows my mind, dude. That actually blows my mind. A loving father.
Where he courted billionaire clients, including the man behind Victoria's Secret and The Limited. Les Wexner kickstarted Epstein's professional success. And when Epstein's private crimes came out, he expressed outrage.
Being taken advantage of by someone who was so sick, so cunning, so depraved.
Yeah, real victim. The real victim here is Les Wexner, chat. It's crazy.
It's something that I'm embarrassed that I was even close to.
But Epstein made many rich and powerful contacts before his sexual predations were publicly known, including now President Donald Trump, who in 2002, before his friendship with Epstein fell apart reportedly over a real estate deal, told New York Magazine, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy." Aside from Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime girlfriend, none of his highly placed former pals have been charged with any crimes related to him. No law enforcement authorities have ever accused Trump of any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. And the president bristles at the whole idea that the Epstein case still has secrets to reveal.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
Still, some find Epstein's fortune inexplicably large, too big in their assessment to have been made by legitimate hustle. And they openly wonder, with no proof, at least not yet, if maybe some of Epstein's contacts were somehow involved in his crimes and paying to keep it quiet.
We need to know, were they paying Jeffrey Epstein money to do these? Who gave him the loans to buy the islands? What was he paid? Where did that money come from?
Tom Foreman, CNN, Washington.
Joining me now is political anchor for Spectrum News and host of The Big Deal with Errol Lewis. Errol, good to have you this Saturday. So let's start with the Ghislaine Maxwell interviews. The Deputy AG, Todd Blanche, spent 2 days interviewing her. At the end of the second day, Maxwell's attorney was asked about potential for pardon, and so was the president. So let's watch those.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if she's cooperating?
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something. It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons.
We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. And listen, the president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way. Thank you.
Haven't spoken about a pardon yet. Haven't thought about a pardon, but I'm allowed to. What do you hear there?
Oh, well, good morning, Victor. What I hear is what I think we all just saw with our own eyes, which is that in a shocking departure from normal procedures, a very high-ranking member of the Justice Department went and spent, 7 hours talking to this convicted felon, this person who did not even testify in her own case, never said a word in her own trial, and clearly made some kind of a deal or slyly suggested to her that, gee, if you say the right things or if you keep your mouth shut, there could be a pardon and you might be able to get out of prison in 20 months instead of 20 years.
But, Errol, is there any way that the president, let's say the pardon is on the table, before the very end of this term would do that? Could he carry that politically to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell?
Sure. I mean, listen, Victor, because of the Constitution and the prohibition on running for another term, Donald Trump is essentially a lame duck. If you project out to the end of his term, he'll be a very wealthy man who's in his 80s who can't run for office again. What would it harm him to sort of do these kind of dirty deeds and have the rest of us decry it as improper or immoral? He won't care at that point. I'm not sure he cares right now.
Yeah, I mean, it would be one thing to do it January 19th of 2029 versus to do it August 1st of 2025. But let's talk about the content of these interviews. You've got the president's former personal attorney, who he's appointed the deputy AG, going to interview a convicted who, as we see, wants a pardon about a scandal that the president wants distance from. So how much credibility is there in what comes out of this if we ever get the details of these interviews?
Yeah, I'm not sure we're ever going to find out exactly what was said, but this is a part of what has been a desperate mission, very much as Tom Foreman just reported, by the White House to just try and make this go away. They just don't want us talking about it. They don't want reporters digging into it. The problem, of course, is that in MAGA world, there are a number of really senior people who are now part of the Trump administration who spent years. I mean, you know how that ecosystem works, Victor, where on talk radio and on websites and in books over and over and over again, they've said that Jeffrey Epstein is not just some wayward, depraved political player, but that he's central to how you have to understand politics. And they cannot now convince the MAGA base that there's nothing to see here. So I think they're gonna pull out every last stop that they possibly can, including some kind of a statement or non-statement from Ghislaine Maxwell, if they think that that will work, just to try and get this off the table. The central question, of course, is, Mr. President, what did you know? What was your relationship with Jeffrey Epstein really about? And if you knew that he was engaged in illegal activity, why didn't you say something?
And there are enough members of the Republican conference in Congress now who want answers to those questions that this House subcommittee and oversight, they've now voted to subpoena the Epstein files. I want you to listen here. This is Republican Mike Kennedy. He held a virtual town hall. And for you at home, if you are having breakfast or if you are drinking a protein shake, sit the cup down, sit the fork down. This is pretty graphic, but I think it's important. Let's play it.
I am a big fan of full transparency. And of course, healthcare and how it's delivered is a big way of thinking about things. Is if you've got a festering boil, infected wound with pus underneath there, you can continue to just let it fester. And potentially that's going to grow inward and create infection in your bloodstream and cause the whole body to be sick. Well, it's another way, and I've done this many times over the course of my doctor career, is I just had to put a needle or a knife in it and cut it open and let it drain. And in the case of this Epstein stuff, absolutely, let it out.
Well, if that didn't turn your stomach, Errol, what is the impact of the pressure from these town halls that Republicans will face, and from their voters, not from Democrats who are maybe shouting them down, from their voters over the next month?
Yeah, I mean, here again, look, we have a president who came to national political prominence based on a lie and a conspiracy theory called birtherism. He has, over the years, used conspiracy theories over and over and over again, and he has trained his base, and he's gotten them accustomed to the idea that these weird, dark conspiracies about the so-called deep state are the key to understanding politics. And he's finding it very, very hard now to shut that down. What his members of his Republican Party are going to tell him is that there are a lot of people out there now who bought all of that.
Yeah, bro could have just said drain the swamp like the rest of them, but he went in deep. He went in with a very deep and weird graphic analogy instead.
For over a decade now, and you can't just switch it off. That's the
Yeah, I can't get over the having your personal lawyer meet with the one person who could implicate you in a worldwide operation behind closed doors, a landmark moment, even amongst all the Washington corruption. It sets an insane precedent for future administrations. I do not understand how more people are not freaking the out about this, including like giving immunity to Ghislaine Maxwell in the process, like while simultaneously shutting the door to any sort of revelation from the already existing discovery process. And as a matter of fact, doing this because you don't want the discovery process and the investigation that was conducted already to come out. It's like, it is so overt. It is some broad daylight shit, okay? It's crazy. It's crazy that it's like happening in broad daylight. And I don't know. It's just like there's not enough conversations taking place. That's why I was like the critical on the notion that this is like another Watergate or something. It's like, I don't think we can have Watergates anymore, man. I don't think we're at that point, you know? Do we have Watergates anymore? Can we have Watergates? Like, I feel like in order to have a Watergate style situation, you need to have some strength within the institutions, and also it needs to be propped up by like a sense of shame and order that that people within these institutions might retain. There is no more accountability. Watergate is like the least consequential thing that Trump ever could have done. Oh, wow, he's spying on the opposition? Like, okay. He would come out and be like, of course I'm doing it because I want to win, stupid. Like, I want to win. Only idiots wouldn't spy on the Democrat Party. I'm spying on them because they're evil and they're terrorists. I'm also throwing them in jail.
Problem, by the way, with conspiracy theories is there's nothing you can do to stop them beyond a certain point. And so people are going to take them and run with them. And anytime you say there's nothing else to see here, I don't have any more information, they say, what else are you hiding?
Errol Lewis, good to have you this Saturday.